A motion by Helmut.
Welcome to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township. You know, those government people that make regulations, laws, and ordinances that affect you out there.
That's right, Elgin. And whether you live in the village of Oxford, the village of Leonard, Oxford Township, or Addison Township, these are the people that you went and elected. And the committees and the commissions that make decisions that directly affect you, whether you chose to go to that meeting or not. And the result could be that be a very taxing situation,
Or,
if you know what I mean.
Or other humor could pop to the top. You never know.
Or sink to the bottom.
Or sink to the bottom, right. And other things that can happen on this show, it's called rumors, and one of us more so than the other one.
Hey, wait a minute.
So what you want to do is kind of look into the content of what we say here and pick out the really, really good stuff, which would be the humor and the rumor, right?
Right, facts and half-truths.
Close enough. But we're going to talk about a couple of meetings that just recently occurred. One is the Oxford Village Council meeting on October 10th. The other one was the Village of Leonard Council meeting. That one was on, I'm sorry, I'm going to say August? No, not August. Let's say October 9th.
A tale of two villages.
A tale of two villages, yes. Well, let's talk about the Oxford Village Council because that one was really interesting.
Oh boy.
We should get into this one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, that thing almost caught on fire.
Just about. Let's see the smoke. The council president, of course, is Sue Bassardit. Dave Bailey serves on that council, as well as Eric Dolan and Maureen Helmuth. Now, they do have a vacancy, but the other evening they did fill that vacancy.
They did? With whom?
I'm not going to tell. Prematurely.
The hook is in.
Yeah, hook is in, because there's quite a story to go with this as well. They did the pledge, of course.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, right. A lot of things going on with the village. There's no question about that. And one of the things that we want to say is last time we talked about the village, they were going to possibly make an offer to a lady who is well qualified to become the village manager. Well, since then, the revolving door has happened again, and she has not accepted the position.
I think that's a motorized revolving door. It just ejects people.
Pretty much. I don't know how many applicants they've had. I want to say 3, maybe 4 applicants.
You going low?
Potential
Are you
applicants?
lowballing that one or what?
I could be. You want to say like 12 or 18,
No,
right?
no, well, yeah.
All right, we're okay. Anyway, so first thing that they did is they handled a segment called Special Items before they actually got into the meat of the meeting here.
Special items.
Special items, yep. And what they did is they then interviewed for appointments, for the position to be on the village council.
Oh, okay.
But prior to that, they presented a gentleman. His name is Mike Sowald, who's the police chief.
Mm-hmm.
Swore in a sergeant who was Clint Ashcroft. Everybody in the
He was already on the force, right?
He was on the
but
force,
now he's
yeah.
being promoted to sergeant.
Right. And I said Mike swore him in. Not really. Person that swore him in was Kurt. That guy. Curtis. Right. I know him really well, don't you?
Yeah,
Curtis
sure.
Wright?
Curtis Wright.
I was waiting for you to jump in there, but you wouldn't jump in.
Oh, wait a minute.
Curtis Wright is the clerk, and he swore in the sergeant, the new sergeant. And anyway, so
This is the village.
this is the village that we're talking about.
Curtis Wright is the clerk,
He's the
of
clerk
the township.
For the township.
Yes.
And he was asked to do the swearing in,
Oh, okay.
which he did. And after that was done, Mike Sowald, the police chief, he got up and he said some really nice things about the new sergeant, Clint Ashcroft. And then Clint Ashcroft got up and said some really nice things about Mike Sowald. And
Like, thanks.
yeah, like thanks. And I do appreciate the pay raise, by the way. Actually, the gentleman's wife pinned a new badge on it, which
that's
says
good.
sergeant on it. Just so that, it's kind of like when you
I'm
went
sure.
to school and your mother put your name on the thing.
I'm sure that promotion was well deserved.
It was. He's well known in the community, does a great job, has been with the force for quite a while. So, and after that, Sue Bassardit, the president, she said, let them have cake. So they had a timeout.
And you did too.
So they closed the meeting for a short period of time. I did not. I wasn't there, but I did view this. And they had cake, and after everybody had an opportunity to talk to the new sergeant, they opened the council meeting again. And at this time, they said, well, we're going to now interview appointees for the village council position.
How many
for
were
the
there?
opening. Well, there were actually two. There's Joe Frost, who was also, if you recall,
He was the head of the DDA for a while.
he was the head of the DDA. He was the Downtown Development Authority Executive Director. Has since gone to county position, but lives here in the village.
What you do in the county?
He does pretty much for streetscape, that kind of thing,
Okay.
for downtowns. Acts as a liaison and also, what do you want to say, consultant for that kind of thing for the county. Does a great job there as well, but he lives in the village and would like to be on the village council, so he put his application or his request in. Dave Gerber, I don't know if you're familiar with Dave Gerber.
He's a pastor, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he serves as a chaplain for the police department in town here.
Ah.
And he has another job too. I'm not at all sure what he does besides this, but he's a pretty energetic guy. Everybody in the community knows him, a real fine, upstanding citizen of Oxford. So he was the second person that did apply for this. However, I guess I understand that he wasn't really made aware that they were going to appoint somebody that evening. He just heard through the grapevine, you know the song?
And just happened to show up?
It just happened to show up, is what the understanding is. Now, this could be a rumor.
Did someone drop the ball?
Somebody might have, yes. I'm not saying who, because
That's your job.
It wasn't you, so I know it had to be somebody else on the village council that probably dropped the ball. But anyway, so Dave Gerber presented himself as well. And so then they said, well, let's take a vote on it. Dave Bailey and Maureen Helmuth voted no, because the proposal was to have Joe Frost, the member. And it was presented by Eric Dolan.
Oh.
Well, Eric Dolan and Sue Bassardet both voted, to put Joe Frost on. So
And
now
if there,
we have a 2-2.
if there were 5, it would have been a tiebreaker.
Would have been. Well, if they only put this guy on, he could vote for himself. They'd be all set. No, it's 2-2. So anyway, so Eric Dolan says,
What in overtime?
what now? What do we do? And Sue Bassardet says, I don't know. What do we do? So anyway, so they turned to the attorney and they said, what do we do? And the attorney says, well, I make a recommendation that probably you wait till the end of the meeting, maybe reconsider. Maybe somebody will change their mind in this by the time the meeting is over, and maybe make a decision, So that's the way it was left. They tabled it.
Chew on it.
Yeah, chew on it until the rest of the meeting is completed. Okay, so anyway, so Eric Dolan set it aside, made the motion, and so the next thing was, is there any public they want to come forth and talk about non-agenda items? Well, Rose Bema, she stood up, and everybody knows Rose too, and she served on planning commission.
She's had a lot of experience in the office too there.
Yes, very much so. And she said that she was concerned, were the merge payments up to date? That's a retirement program, if everything is in place.
Are they fully funded?
Right, and that's what she was concerned with. She said also, about the tax collections. She said, where is the revenue at? She said she's received a tax report and it doesn't show anything in terms of revenue received, even though people have paid taxes. So that was an interesting comment that she made, wasn't it?
Oh.
Let's hear more when we come back right after this.
There's a lot of water, but none of it's in the bucket.
It's not just a donation.
It's a warm blanket.
It's a bottle of clean water.
It's a roof and a bed.
Please donate now to Red Cross Disaster Relief. Your help is urgently needed.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nickel.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
A lot of exciting things going on here about the Village Council, and we're just discussing Rose Beeman, and the next person who wanted to speak for the public, for non-agenda items, was Curtis Wright, and he's the clerk for the village or the township,
Okay.
Oxford Township. And he said, what's interesting, he said, is that the village closes their offices on Friday. He said, and there should be a bulletin board out front, he said, of the building containing the various meetings and so forth. So
Because the bulletin board is actually inside the building.
It's inside the building, but you can't get in the building unless you're a very good burglar.
Sort of a catch-22.
And I wouldn't recommend that a burglar go in because the police department is right there. So not a good idea.
You can't tell the meeting was canceled, but by the
Right.
fact that the doors are locked, it probably was.
Right. Well, Curtis Wright, he said, I'll tell you what, he said the township will pay for this board. He said it'll be
That's embarrassing.
a safety glass or something on the outside, you know, to protect it from the weather. And he said that we will provide the board if it's okay if you want to go ahead and prove it. So.
And they said,
And they said, yes. I
A
think
freebie?
So. Yep, there's a freebie. Price is right. So that's what they did. Pete Schultz, fire chief, he stood up and he said, you know, sign ordinance, he said, was a concern because a while back, he said, the fire department, Fire Station 1, wanted to put up a sign where we could put changeable lettering on it, electronic lettering.
oh
for various
no,
events.
not going back into that electronic bucket
Well,
again,
it
are
was-
they?
He said it was turned down. He said, and we did allow at that time, you know, people to post signs, you know, in our fire station lawn. And he said that since this has turned about, he says they won't do that. He said we requested that those signs not be placed on the lawn. He said today, he said we noticed that there's a sign on the lawn which we didn't approve. And so therefore, he said, we're making the council here aware that it's not an authorized thing to do. So he said, you know, we really didn't want to take this
What was the
stance,
sign
but,
for?
I don't know what this, I think it might have been for the Women's Expo coming up. And that's going to be Sunday. By the time you folks view this, that expo will be over with.
But they're not hanging them off the bridge anymore, the Pollyann Trail
No,
Bridge.
that's, they passed an ordinance, you can't do that.
Okay.
So, anyway, so he was rather concerned about that and just wanted to point it out, you know. I think that was, you know, personally, I think that was a mistake in not allowing that sign to go in. I think it would have been done, you know, tastefully. And LEDs are in the area, banks have them, and they were approved with a special use permit. So
I think he was using the what's good for the gander is
Yeah,
good for the goose or
I
something.
think that's it. I think he was upset in the fact that, you know, others can do it, but he can't, you know, and it's a civic thing. So anyway, Kate Logan, she spoke up. She said, I want to talk about rats. There's a lot of rats around all over.
Rats?
In her neighborhood. And
Figuratively?
yeah.
Or literally?
No, literally.
Okay.
She lives on Crawford Street, and she said that a while back there's a kennel with multiple dogs, which the village, you know, told the guy he couldn't have these dogs, and so they had to extricate them.
What kind of dogs?
All kinds of beagles and things like this for hunting dogs.
You say mobile?
Huh? They
It was a
had what?
kennel of what dogs?
Dogs. All
Right.
kinds of hunting dogs
Okay.
that this guy used to have next to her.
All right.
And so anyway, I recall that because it went to the variance board and I was on the variance board. And you can't do that. You're allowed, I think, 2 dogs, 3 dogs max. And he has like
Inside?
14 dogs outside.
But can you keep them outside or
No.
you have to keep them inside?
You can't have them on your property if you got 13, 14 dogs.
Well, no, but if you have 2 dogs, do they have to be outside or inside?
No, inside or outside, either
Okay,
way.
but that's okay.
Yeah, according to the ordinance.
Right.
But anyway, so this guy violated the ordinance, and he didn't do it just for a day or two. He did this for a few years. But so anyway, so we ruled, you know, that he could no longer do this. That he had to so many days to remove these animals. He
Or
did.
else what?
Well, else he'd be fined,
Ah.
and somebody might pick up his doggies.
Oh.
But that was a thing of the past. But what has happened, according to Kate Logan, is that once this guy pulled out, there was all kinds of little critters hiding underneath the pens and so forth. And now they've decided to have their little families at various homes within the area. So she's upset over it, and she did complain to the previous village manager, Joe Young, on this. And Joe was trying to take action with it. But of course, Joe was let go before, you know, he was able to achieve that.
So what do you do?
So that's what she says. What do I do now? Said she showed pictures of these rats. She had captured one in a.
These are rat rats,
These
not,
are rat
not
rats.
mites,
Yeah,
not
these
little
are-
field mice.
They're
Okay.
big rats.
Oh, well done.
So anyway, so there's neighbors now. And she said she's taking pictures of these rats climbing in and out of garbage cans and so forth. So it's a real issue, and she contacted the county, and the county said it's a village issue. They really can't do anything but they need to summon the village, to take care of this problem. So she said, I'd like to see this on the agenda and get it taken care of.
Is this on vacant property now?
No, it's on building properties, next to the school over there, as a matter of fact. And she
Next
said-
to the school.
Yeah, and she said, you don't want these critters, sitting at your desk, stealing pencils from the kids. So
Here, let me sharpen that.
let me sharpen that pencil. So anyway, so something's going to be done there, and it's going to be ratless before they're done. I guarantee you this.
Wow.
But anyway, so that's an
Woo.
issue before the village, which that's a new one. I haven't heard that one for a while.
Mickey Rodent.
Yeah, and then they got to the meeting minutes, and they approved the minutes for September 12th and September 26th. And let me see, they wanted to make people aware that the individual that applied for the village manager's position and was about to be hired and was offered the job refused the job. So now they have a rotating door again, where they don't have somebody actually for the village manager position. But there's more to come.
What do you have to do?
There's more, folks, that come down the line here. Okay. At one given point, Eric Dolan got so upset, he said, well, maybe we need to dissolve the village council.
Yikes.
Because they couldn't make a decision, one way or the other on this, and had a stalemate or a tie.
What decision was there going to be?
Well, there's a long range of decisions. For example, Helmuth and Dave Bailey were part of the group that interviewed these people for these prospective jobs.
Okay.
And so he's saying that they had already pre-interviewed them when these people come before the board to be reviewed by the rest of the board. Most of the questions have all been answered and so forth, and he didn't feel that was the right way to do it. So a new appointees were made, and he said dissolve that particular group. That's what I'm referring to solicit people for this job. And he said, let's appoint Bob Davis, the attorney, Evan Teach, who's the acting village manager.
Who should know what the job entails?
He should, yeah. And James Petrino, who used to be, the village manager, the first one that they had that came in as a consultant.
The alternate temporary.
The alternate. And he's still working on some of the financials.
No,
for this,
is he?
As well as for the M24 task force that's going on. Dave Bailey objected to this because he said none of these people that you want to put on this board are residents of Oxford. But they said, well, that really didn't matter.
They're qualified to evaluate a person based
They
on
are
the
qualified.
requirements of the job.
Right, so that was approved, and those people now will be hunting for not only manager for the village, but also for a clerk, because there's more to come concerning the clerk.
They're casting about.
Yes, we'll tell you more when we come back right after this. This is a long story, folks.
We here at OCTV cover the local events and government meetings of Oxford, Addison, and Leonard. We also produce and edit programs for you viewers out there. With the leadership of our station manager, Bill Service, we have been a very successful team, winning awards from the state of Michigan for Best Electronic Media, giving attention to our local veterans. We also won awards for excellence in directing and educational programs. With the help of our great new equipment and our technical directors, we write, produce, and broadcast our local news for you. Without our production manager, Terry Stiles, our channel and station wouldn't be the well-oiled machine it is today. She coordinates the editing assignments and shoot schedule with our editors and camera people. OCTV and its communities make a great team.
Welcome back, Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're still talking about the village council meeting because it was so exciting, right? Okay, so the next thing that came up was a joint meeting, that they want to have a joint meeting with the DDA members and the village council to discuss budgetary requirements for the TAP grant that's going to be coming up and how it's going to be financed for M24, right?
Raise my hand. What's TAP?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, there's several different grants, and that's just one of them.
What does TAP stand for?
I don't know. Look it up. Take a note. I could make up something about this point, but I won't. I was afraid he'd ask this question, folks, and he did.
It stands for he's
Yeah.
tap dancing now, trying to
dance,
come up
yeah.
with an answer.
That's what it's for. Tap dancing your way right out the door. But anyway, so they're going to have a meeting. It's going to be at the library on October 16th at 6 p.m. So if folks aren't doing anything, you might want to check it out. It's all concerning the budgetary information and also some highlights about what's happening with Streetscape. So you folks might want to be there. Bills.
Before 2019 occurs.
Yeah, they had bills for $63,133.74 and a secondary bill for $86,939.66
What makes it secondary?
because it was another bill that came in after the other one that made it number 2. Secondary.
But they just add them together.
They could have done that, but they didn't do that. So anyway, they did approve them as one whack of cash. And Sue Bassard, she was holding back a check for GFL. And actually, in GFL
Not
wasn't...
GFS?
No. No. The garbage collection company.
Okay.
But it wasn't actually GFL that they should have
Well, they had a
held it.
problem with pickup, didn't they?
Right, but that wasn't with GFL. That was with Republic.
Which one was a Canadian company?
GFL is Canadian.
Okay.
Republic was the one that GFL purchased or bought out.
Okay.
And Republic, their service went to, well, shall we say, down the drain.
Oh. Well,
And, when it was taken over. So people got very upset over it. And
so they kicked that can down the road.
yeah, so they said, well, we won't pay Republic, until they can straighten out the garbage or the trash situation here. So anyway, so they did approve it, go forward with it, and pay for the existing checks because they have been providing services, and GFL has been very receptive to correcting the problems out there. And as a matter of fact, this week, Attorney Bob Davis is going to meet with their people again. So
Okay.
just make sure everything is kosher. Now the big one, Lori Fisher, independent contract, and she's getting paid $49.95 per hour. To
She
replace-
is the treasurer at Addison Township,
She
right?
is, and there's some really interesting concepts there and how she can serve two hats, 2 different communities. And that's part of the issue here. She was hired as a part-time clerk by Evan Teach, the existing temporary village manager, because he said, we need somebody in there, to do this that can understand the financials and treasury portion of it. And so he
'Cause
hired her.
Susan Nasser's
And by the
gone
way,
now.
he has a right to hire her under a contract.
But Susan Nasser's gone now, isn't
Susan
she?
Nasser is gone, and she was handling those responsibilities. And what is interesting is, at this point, Helmuth yelled out that this is garbage. This contract is garbage, she says.
And we're not talking about GFL anymore.
Not GFL. No, this is a contract with Lori Fisher. To make this kind of money when the person that was fulfilling this job originally was making $15 an hour.
Yikes!
Yikes. And so she was very upset over the fact that, they're paying this individual for this kind of money. Evan Teach, he chimed in and he said, well, she's not getting retirement or she's not getting vacation time, that kind of thing. And that didn't soothe Helmuth at all. She still said that the village is extravagantly spending money. It's bleeding funds, that it needs to be fixed. And very adamant about the fact that, it was up to the committee or the commission to bring in the
Commission?
or council to bring in the clerk for this position. And they Evan Teach says, fine, I don't have a problem with that, I think.
Are they going to hire a person that will be the combination clerk treasurer, or are they going to hire 2 people?
Yes. Eric Dolan says, he says, well, we should go forward with this because he said, what choices do we have? It's got to be fixed, right? So he said, he suggested a 30-day contract. Well, Helmut says, well, when does the 30 days begin? When did he start? Or when did she start? Well, she started over 30 days ago. Well, Helmut says, well, then that contract is expired. What are you talking about? So anyway, so there's quite a discussion. You want to catch more, go to our TV station, occtv.org.
Click
on
on,
our
pro-
website.
click on programs, click on Village of Oxford, and there you
You'll
are.
see the real action going on, okay? So anyway, so this was actually, they went to a vote, and again, it was a tie.
Of
So
course,
Dolan-
it was a tie. They should have taken care of that month before.
So now they have two ties. Dolan says, what do we do now?
If only they'd voted on the guy before.
So Eric was certainly upset at this point. He said, can't make a decision here, you know, as to what's going to happen. So anyway, Helmut says there's no way it's going to happen with this contract. So anyway, so they went on. Dolan did a lot of questioning here at this point.
So what was the result of all this?
The result was that they finally, at the end of the meeting, they did decide to take a vote. And they decided to place Joe Frost into the position, village council.
But what about the whole thing with the salary?
All right, now we're going to the salary.
Oh.
And the salary, the agreement was that they would put a 30-day cap on this, with a 7-day, I think, extension on it, if at all possible.
Retroactive?
Right, they would either accept her as clerk, or they will find somebody else to do that. And so this new group of 3 people is saddled with getting new people, you know, for these positions, have until November to come up with somebody for this position and for a village manager. So that's where it's lying right now. And then they'll re-vote on it in 30 days. That's where we are. Talk about fun, huh? That was a lot.
Can't wait for the next one.
Can't wait till the next one. You got it. All right. Let me see. Let's talk quickly about the Village of Leonard Village Council. Mike McDonald serves on that board. Shar Sotheby, Almirante. You got it. Hoffman and Kennedy. They did the pledge, the prayer. Now, they went through this pretty quick. The minutes for March 13th were covered. Treasurer's report was accepted, filed. Bills for September were $25,320.67 for the general fund. Remember, there's multiple funds here. Major fund was $21,190.10, and the local fund, $2,459.05. So if you want to write a check, go ahead.
Okay.
Public non-agenda items. Okay. A couple of people spoke up about the master plan, that they disagree with the master plan in
Are
general.
they still in that 5-year recycle?
They are.
Okay.
Yeah, but actually the new master plan is just about completed.
Okay.
So
Which one are they talking about?
Well, I don't know, one of them. But anyway, the concern was that there's not enough emphasis on bringing business in and industry and commercial. So anyway, that was one of the things. Sewers also and water resources, another concern. Hey, when are we going to get public sewers out here? Probably never.
Table that one.
Table that one. So anyway, there are a lot of other neat things that went on here. And again, if you want to follow through on the Village of Leonard Council meeting or any of the others that we talk about, go to occtv.org and click on programs and check it out. What's coming
Village
up?
of Leonard. Okay. We don't have that many meetings, but on 10/23, guess what?
What?
The OACCC will be meeting at 4 o'clock at the village offices in Oxford.
Yippee-yi-yi-ki-yay.
Woo! And
Don't miss
on
it.
10/24 at 6:30, the Oxford Board of Education will be meeting at the Oxford Elementary School. And on 10/26 at 7 o'clock, the Oxford Township Planning Commission. And that's that.
That's it. That's all you've got, huh?
Yep.
I'm Elgin Nichols.
I'm Dave Kenny.
Catch you next time right here on Minutes by Minute.
See you then.
Okay.
It's not just a donation.
It's a warm blanket.
It's a bottle of clean water.
It's a roof and a bed.
Please donate now to Red Cross Disaster Relief. Your help is urgently needed.
Our OCTV news team, bringing your news closer to home. With local news anchors Elgin Nichols and Terry Stiles, Julie Hogan with Calendar of Events, Cody Wright with Sports, and David Kenny with Auto Talk and Science in the News. OCTV, serving Oxford, Leonard, and Addison communities for over 29 years.